Winogrand. Garry Winogrand was an American photographer who lived from 1928 to 1984. He was the recipient of several Guggenheim Fellowships and a National Endowment for the Arts Fellowship. There is currently a touring exhibition of his work, which was first shown in San Francisco in 2013. It is currently at the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C., and will travel to other cities, including New York, in 2015. This was originally created in March 2013 for a class on Garry Winogrand at the International Center of Photography. Instructor Peter Baker. Winogrand Conundrum. I photograph to find out what something will look like photographed. Garry Winogrand. Here are images of Garry Winogrand. That's Deanne Arbus on the right, and in this photograph they're calling their answering services after a meeting at the Museum of Modern Art. So Winogrand said he photographed to see what something looks like photographed, yet Winogrand never saw several 100,000 of his photographs. At the time of his death, Winogrand left behind 2,500 undeveloped rolls of 36 exposure film, 6,500 rolls of film that had been developed but not contact printed, not to mention 300 apparently untouched, unedited contact sheets. That's at least 300,000 pictures that Winogrand took, but never even saw. He was so busy photographing the world around him. 300,000 images that he never saw. Who did Winogrand admire and or hang around with? The column on the left is who he admired. The one on the right are people he hung around with. Walker Evans, Robert Frank, Eugene Auger, Brassai, Kertész, Henry Cartier-Bresson, Edward Weston. His buddies, Deanne Arbus, Lee Friedlander, Todd Papageorge, Joel Meyerowitz. What did Winogrand photograph? This was sort of my thought process for the class that I was taking, because we had to photograph in the spirit of Garry Winogrand. So these are just some of the many hundreds of thousands of Winogrand images. This is Deanne Arbus, by the way. So this again is my kind of thought process to see what I could photograph based on the work of Garry Winogrand's spirit. What do photographers want to know about Garry Winogrand? What about his camera? This is Leica M4. This is his actual Leica M4 camera. Beat up and brassied, but well worn. And he shot with 35mm and 28mm lenses mostly. And this is a little discussion that he had with an interviewer about his choice of lenses. Here are books by Garry Winogrand. Some created during his lifetime, and some of the later ones were posthumous. It's a little video on Winogrand.
When I'm photographing, I see life. That's what I deal with. I don't have pictures in my head. I frame in terms of what I want to include, and actually when I want to snap the shutter. And I don't worry about how the picture's going to look. I let that take care of itself. You know, and we know too much about how pictures look and should look. And how do you get around making those pictures again and again? And it's one modus operandi to frame in terms of what you want to have in the picture, not about how making a nice picture. That anybody can do. I'm very subjective in what I photograph. When things move, I get interested. I know that much. Women interest me. They're, you know, basically how they look, and certainly how they look and how they move, their energy. It's sort of like photographing theater. You know, that guy in the car sitting on the backseat waving at the crowd. To make a photograph more theatrical than the subject's own theatricality is a hell of a problem. Let's say a picture is about what's photographed and how that exists in the photograph. So that's what we're talking about. What can happen in a frame? Because photographing something changes it. It's interesting. I don't have to have any storytelling responsibility to what I'm photographing. I have a responsibility to describe well the fact that photographs, they're mute. They don't have any narrative ability at all. You know what something looked like, but you don't know what's happening. You don't know whether, like this, is the hat being just held? Is it being put on her head or taken off her head? From the photograph, you don't know that. A piece of time and space is well described, but not what is happening. I think that there isn't a photograph in the world that has any narrative ability. Any of them. They do not tell stories. They show you what something looks like to a camera. You know, the minute you relate this thing to what was photographed, it's a lie. It's two-dimensional. It's the illusion of literal description. The thing has to be complete in the frame. Whether you have that information, the narrative information or not, it has to be complete in the frame. It's a picture problem. It's part of what makes things interesting. Two areas of the country have always fascinated me to photograph. One was Texas, and one Southern California. I don't understand. It just fascinates me. Show business and the oil. I mean, it's improbable. It's funny.
What's happening?
I'm surviving. Yeah. You see the Georgia Klinger? When there's direct sun on it, the whole thing becomes like a giant jewel. And depending on which cars are parked in front, open convertibles or whatever, it's almost like a pat answer to how to illustrate the idea of this place. To make that work, beyond just being an illustration of an idea, it's, for me, an interesting problem. I've learned a long time ago to trust my instincts, you see? When I'm photographing, I want to, if I'm a viewfinder and I know the picture, I know that picture, why take it? I'll do something to change it, which is often a reason why I may tilt the camera or fool around in various ways. You don't learn anything from repeating what you know, in effect. So I keep trying to make it uncertain. what I found out over photographing a long time, the more I do, the more I do. When you're younger, you can only conceive of trying a limited amount of things to work with. And the more I work, the more subject matter I can begin to try to deal with. So the more I do, it's nuts. The nature of the photographic process is it is about failure. Most everything I do doesn't quite make it. The failures can be intelligent, they're not necessarily stupid, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. I mean, hopefully you're risking failing every time you make a frame. I've been in Los Angeles now a little over 2 years. This book is slightly under 2,000 rolls, which is what I've developed since I'm here. And I have over 2,000 to go.
To me, Winogrand was a new vision in photography during his lifetime. A gruff yet intense photographer, the product of his time, an observer and chronicler of life at his time, one who saw the photograph as the ideal, one who had laid the groundwork for others to follow and explore, and that he worked instinctively. He didn't like talking about what was in his photographs. Here's some Winogrand quotes. Photography is not about the thing photographed. It's about how things look photographed. I am a tourist. No one moment is most important. Any moment can be something. There's no special way a photograph should look. Photos have no narrative content. They only describe light on surface. Great photography is always on the edge of failure. I don't have anything to say in any picture. My only interest in photography is to see what something looks like as a photograph. I have no preconceptions. I don't have a message in my pictures. The true business of photography is to capture a bit of reality, whatever that is, on film. Winogrand died 29 years ago this week. This was created in March 2013. He was only 56 years old. A new major retrospective that includes many photographs that neither he nor others ever saw has been now opened at the San Francisco MoMA, where it's now in Washington, D.C., a year and a half later. The show will travel to several museums around the world over the next few years, bringing the work of Garry Winogrand to many who never knew he existed, as well as those that knew his work during his lifetime. This is me at the Winogrand Show at San Francisco MoMA in 2013.